Hello everybody from Howth, which is just north of Dublin. Well, a little over 3 years ago I took the Enterprise train from Belfast down to Dublin Connolly, and it wasn't a great experience, to be honest with you. There was no catering for one, and I tried to upgrade to first class and I couldn't do it for some reason, and the customer service just wasn't really very good. I'll tell you what, at the time I said I'd never do it again. Well, guess what? Today I am doing it again. We are revisiting the Enterprise train. This time we're going to be doing it from south to north. It can't be as bad as last time, can it? Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Come with me. We're going to head into Dublin, I'm going to get on the train, and I'll see you on board.
Yeah, people say you should never go back, don't they? But I reckon that only possibly applies to places where you've had such a good time. It would just never be the same again. And that definitely hadn't been the case on my previous trip with the Enterprise, but I had heard that the service had improved, so I did want to give them a second chance, so to speak. Well, this Dart electric multiple unit took me back into Dublin Connolly, where the Enterprise train has its own area of the station here, clearly signed and avoiding the gate line for the other platforms. A member of staff is at hand to direct passengers into the dedicated lounge area, and there's no waiting on the platform allowed, as you can see from the barriers here. And I guess that after arriving into Dublin, the train is cleaned and prepared for its next journey, and rightly so. There are seats, toilets and vending machines in the lounge area. After about 10 minutes, the door to the platform opened and I joined the scrum of passengers heading towards the train. If you book your ticket online, you get the choice of automatic or manual seat selection, so I'm assuming that most people knew where they were sitting and headed for the appropriate coach. A member of the Enterprise staff is on hand to greet passengers and answer any specific queries about these reservations, such as seat location, and direct people accordingly. Now, I was travelling on my first class Interrail ticket again, and just like my recent trip in Finland, I hadn't paid a supplement to reserve a seat. But there was a major difference between this train and my previous experience with VR, which makes things so much easier. Have a listen to my conversation with the member of staff on the platform here.
I'm travelling on an unreserved first class Interrail ticket.
Okay, just pick the seat with the green light above.
Green light,
okay?
and it's this carriage here, is it?
This or this?
This one. Thank you very much.
How easy was that? The seat indicators are helpful, efficient, and they save you having to change locations half a dozen times if you don't want to be penalised for not paying to reserve your place. That is, of course, if they're working properly. They don't always. Anyway, I found a suitable seat on the right hand side facing forward, and I settled in for the journey.
Right then guys, well, I'm on board the Enterprise and we've got about 10 minutes to go, and actually first impressions, the lady that greeted passengers at the door there, she was really quite friendly and helpful too. Obviously I told her that I was travelling on an Interrail unreserved first class ticket, and so she just said sit anywhere where there's a green light, and there were plenty of green lights in this particular carriage, and there were two carriages first class by the looks of it. And yeah, I don't know whether it's me or not, but it seems to have changed since last time, and it certainly looks bright, fresh, certainly clean. So yeah, actually a very good first impression. Let's see if that continues, shall we?
A review of the seats before we depart. They looked and felt very comfortable with the winged headrests and burgundy antimacassars. And with retractable armrests and a grey and white moquette, there was plenty of side padding on the seats with good cushioning all round. A legroom was also excellent at this table seat, to note the carpeted and clean floor. At the side of the seat was a conventional UK style 3-pin plug and 2 buttons here built into the side of the armrest, which, much to my amusement and probably the annoyance of anybody sitting directly behind me, seemed to make the seat bounce up and down. Well, I've never had anything quite like this on a train before. I mean, it was the seat recline, wasn't it, as you can see here, but yeah, certainly much less effort required to recline it than on some trains or coaches I've been on in the past. Absolutely great fun. Yeah. Overhead racks are present for small luggage, with larger luggage space available near the vestibule. Window blinds are fitted for passenger comfort. And note, it is all table seating in Enterprise Plus, which is the Enterprise's version of first class, and it's laid out in a 2-1 seating configuration. Scheduled to depart at 15:50, our train had a journey time of 2 hours and 10 minutes, giving us an arrival time into Belfast Grand Central of 1800 hours. Now, we left a couple of minutes late, but that's not an issue, is it? Long platforms here at Dublin Connolly, which are ideally suited for this push-pull service, with the DVT at one end, 2 Enterprise Plus coaches, a buffet coach, 4 standard coaches, a generator van and a Class 201 locomotive. And we passed one of these engines here, number 228, with the Enterprise livery. The only other passenger service in Ireland with these locomotives is the Dublin to Cork line, though Cork is also served by diesel multiple units, such as the one in this video here. Now, shortly before our departure, onboard menus were given out. It was quite an extensive choice, I thought. Breakfast, sandwiches, drinks including alcohol, and lunch was all detailed and available depending on the time of day. You will note that it's all at extra cost, and in that respect I thought it was quite similar to some of the trains over in mainland Europe that offer catering facilities either at seat or with a dedicated restaurant car. Well, as we made our way along, another member of the crew came around with complimentary water, which was gratefully received. Another Enterprise service passed us heading south, and as I was enjoying the views over the Malahide estuary, orders were taken from the menu. Well, to celebrate a much improved travel experience compared to the last time I took this train, albeit that was in standard class, I partook in a glass of wine, Sauvignon Blanc, for a reasonable £5.70 or €6.85. And note prices are in pounds sterling and euros for this cross-border service, and it was served in a proper glass. Santa Helena from Chile, 187ml. Blue skies were becoming more prominent as we flashed through Skerries railway station on the coast. I must take the slow train up here one day, as it looks like a beautiful part of the country. My coach today was, I would say, about half full leaving Dublin, though we would be making a further 4 stops between there and our final destination. There are some lovely views of the sea as we run alongside the R127 and into Balbriggan, which again looks worth a visit with its picturesque harbour and small beach next to it. And I'm looking to do some more trips around Ireland in the near future, so if you have any suggestions then please let me know. It doesn't have to be trains. I remember going on a ferry a few years back to Skellig Michael. That was an amazing place, and it was quite a thing to actually get there, but yeah, the island itself was absolutely magical and I will never forget it. And also guys, if you're enjoying this video then please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's free and it really helps the channel out. Thank you so much in advance. We arrived into our first stop, Drogheda, at 1628. Population of around 45,000. This industrial port town is located on the River Boyne, which we will cross shortly after departure. The station, completed in 1853, replaced the original building of 1844, which was located about a quarter of a mile to the south. It was quite a busy looking place, I thought. Although there were only 3 platforms, we had 4 different types of train here including ours, with what looked to be a depot and maintenance facilities over to the right. And you can see that the platforms themselves are built on quite a curve. And after leaving the station, we almost immediately cross over the River Boyne by means of the 30-metre high Boyne Viaduct, designed by the Irish civil engineer Sir John Benjamin McNeill and completed in 1855.
The next stop is Dundalk.
After Drogheda, one of the onboard crew came back to me to inquire as to whether I'd decided to have anything to eat. He knew all the sandwich varieties, but I decided on the vegetable soup served with bloomer bread and of course a packet of Tayto cheese and onion crisps. It was served in a proper bowl and looked and tasted really good. Total cost was £8.05 or €9.65. Dundalk, population of around 43,000, was next, and we arrived into Dundalk Clark Station about an hour into the journey. Now, the current building here was completed in 1894 in a polychromatic brick style apparently, just the island platform now and a bay facing south, but it has been described as the finest station on the main Belfast to Dublin line. I do tend to agree with that, especially with the presence of the distinctive old Dundalk Central signal cabin just on the platform here as we depart. Now we crossed the Castletown River to the north of the town, after which one of the onboard crew came along with warm towels, and 10 minutes later, would you believe, he was back handing out chocolates. Now, I think these guys are actually called hospitality hosts, and I noticed on the menu earlier that it said CCSL welcomes you aboard. So I'm assuming that all the catering has been contracted out, but yeah, if this is indeed the case, then please let it continue, because I was truly impressed by how good everything was.
Well guys, we are about an hour and 25 minutes into the journey. The next station is Portadown. Yeah, I am absolutely flabbergasted. I cannot believe what a difference 3 years have made. The onboard service has been absolutely excellent, and the food and drink available, okay, you've got to pay for it, most of it anyway, but yeah, really nice, and quite an extensive menu too. It's, like I said, I'm almost lost for words really. I cannot believe it. Anyway, yeah, we've got about 45 minutes to run, something like that. When we get into Belfast Grand Central, I'm going to summarise the journey, and yeah, but it's certainly going to be an improvement on the last one, I can tell you that much.
Before we arrived into Portadown, I had time to check out the toilets, of which there were 2 in the Enterprise Plus part of this consist, just between the 2 carriages. And because of the service levels and the condition of the train, I was actually expecting the toilet to be good, and it was. Soap and water was available, and the hand dryer worked. There was a mirror here, and it was fully stocked with toilet rolls. I even attempted to boldly go where no man has gone before. The baby changing facilities. See what I did there? They were also very clean, and no, I didn't find the captain's log in the toilet. Okay, enough of that. Everything worked and it was clean. Absolutely great. So Portadown next, the penultimate station on our journey, and we arrive at exactly 17:30. And like Newry that preceded it, Portadown is another modernish looking station that, to the casual observer, i.e. me, it seemed a little bit boring and didn't really have any redeeming features that I could find, but yeah, please correct me if you know differently. I remember going through the stations last time I was on the line, and to my mind, the further north you go, the less interesting they become. Or maybe the Republic just retains more of the old buildings and Northern Ireland is quicker to modernise. But I did notice that there were some nice examples of station architecture at some of the stations that we didn't stop at, Moira and Lisbon for example. But like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. But our coach was pretty quiet now, and quite a few people had disembarked, and I sat there thinking about how much the introduction of proper catering had improved this train, and not just the food and drink, but the level of service overall. The staff were absolutely excellent. Now, if you're thinking of sampling the Enterprise Plus service yourself, just a word of warning, not all trains are the same, and not at the time of this video anyway. You see, when I looked at booking this, I noticed that full catering is only offered on some services. Now, I specifically chose the 1550 service so that I could show you guys the full experience. But as you can see here, the one before mine doesn't even have first class, and the one before that does have first class, but it doesn't have any catering. So yeah, make sure you check on the Irish Rail website for the times of these specific trains so that you're not disappointed. As we approach Belfast Grand Central Station, a couple of things to close out. Well, in terms of price, like I said, I was travelling on an Interrail first class ticket, but the screenshot I just showed you will give you an idea of what you can expect to pay around 6 weeks in advance, and personally I think it's pretty good value. And the Wi-Fi connected quickly, and I was able to load and play most social media, including YouTube. Absolutely no problems there. And we came to a halt just 1 minute behind schedule. Not bad, is it that? Well, it's not the quickest intercity service in the world, but punctuality, on this service anyway, was pretty good. I disembarked the train and started to make my way towards the large open space of the new concourse at Grand Central Station. The hub serves the bus and coach network as well as the trains. Now, one criticism I would have is that the only bus that takes you over to the Stena terminal, the 96, is located about a 10-minute walk away, and the last bus is at 18:30 for a 22:30 sailing. And that's absolutely rubbish, and it meant I had to rush for the bus and then hang around the Stena terminal for 3 hours plus. Anyway, I'll talk about that in my next video. All it meant for now was that I had plenty of time to summarise this journey from a lonely bus shelter just outside the Stena port itself.
Right guys, so Belfast, arrived here on the Enterprise train service all the way from Dublin Connolly, and I tell you what a difference 3 years makes. Just as I said before, I just could not believe the change. I thought it was excellent, from the staff to the food and the drink, and it was even pretty punctual as well. Got into Grand Central a couple of minutes late. Nobody's bothered about that, are they? Although, having said that, I've had to kind of hightail it up to the ferry port. I'm catching a ship later on tonight. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the Enterprise. Now, I am so glad that I tried it again and didn't just give up and hate it forevermore. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? Give something a second chance and maybe it will come up with the goods. If you want to see how the previous journey was, then click on this link here. But I would definitely recommend it this time round. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I can catch you on another adventure soon. I'm sure I will. And as always, guys, until then, cheers for now.